as you are all doing very wonderful program coming, together in the morning, doing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is a Mahapuran, right? So it is said in the Bhagavad Mahapuran. Uh, Prabhu, are you sharing the screen? If somebody is sharing the screen,
Krishna. Yeah, Prabhu. This is fine?
yeah. Prabhu, can you go to 113 Bhagavatam?
Sure, Prabhu.
So we'll just recite one verse before we go to actual our discussion. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as you can see the verse on your screen. So it is a very important Mahapuran for Vaishnava society. So it says this verse particular says in first canto, first chapter, verse number 3. It says Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam sukha mukha amrata dravya samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam horaho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So it is said Nigama means Vedas, right? Kalpataru. So Vedas are compared to the desired trees, right? So here the Vedas are compared to the desired trees, and what it is said is that what is Bhagavatam? If you consider there are the Vedas as the desired trees, then trees have the fruits, right? Srimad Bhagavatam is the Kalitam Phalam of that desired trees. So Vedas are the whole knowledge in the world which is a man wants to know, and the fruit of that Vedas, the fruit of that tree is what the Galitam Phalam, not just the ordinary fruit. It is Galitam Phalam. Galitam Phalam means it is already ripened. You have some fruits. Abhi, mango season has gone, right? Now winters have started. So everybody likes mango, right? So if your mango is kacha, then you don't like more. It is properly ripened, then it is tastier. It is sweet. It's very sweet. So if the fruit is properly ripened, then you are, you can enjoy the taste better. So galitam phalam means तैयार फल एकदम जो ripen fruit होता है ना जो पका हुआ फल है एकदम. So this is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. It is the ripened fruit of the whole tree which is considered as the Vedas. Shukha Mukha Amrita Dharvya Samyutam. So Shukha Mukha means the Bhagavatam is delivered by the lotus lips of Sri Shukadeva Goswami. Right now Shukha means also parrot. So it is said that when the fruit is tasted by parrot or the parrot is having some beak in the fruit, it becomes more sweeter. राइट. सो जो फल है वो और मीठा हो जाता है व्हेन जब उसको जो शुका है जो पैरट है इज पुटिंग हिज बीक इन दैट. सो हियर वी आर कंपेयरिंग दैट वी आर the Bhagavatam itself is a ripened fruit, but it becomes more sweet when we are hearing from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. And what happens? Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam. So it is Rasam Alayam, right? It is full of nectarian juice, right? Alayam means house. So it's full of nectarian juice, and we just have to drink. We just have to keep our eyes open. We just have to keep our ears open, and we have to drink Bhagavatam through our ears, right? Normally, what we do, we drink some juice through our mouth, right? But Bhagavatam is that we have to hear oral reception. So you are all, in the morning, you are all very fantastic devotees. You are all coming every day, and Shyam Chandra Prabhu is doing a very wonderful seva of connecting you all and giving you all this rasamalam, giving all you this nectar, so that in the morning when you start your day, you can recite and you can hear this nectarian juice of Srimad Bhagavatam through your ears. This is what it says, right? Muhurao rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So even it is relishable to all the even the liberated souls. So this Bhagavad Mahapuran is not an ordinary book which we are morning hours we are reading. So this is even enjoyed by the liberated souls. What to speak of the conditioned souls like us, right? So with that thought, let us try to relish and try to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam very submissively, very attentively, and with very great respect and patiently, because all these qualities are required for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. You should be submissive. You should be, uh, understanding with great attention and listening to Srila Prabhupada's purpose also and to Shukdev Goswami's explanations. Yeah. So with that thought, let us go to our shlokas of the day. So Prabhu, you can go to our shlokas. Yeah. So today we have a very beautiful shlokas today from first canto, chapter 5, verse number 17 and 18. So I will see if we can take 19th shloka also, because that is the part of the same theme. Prabhuji, if Shamsundar Prabhu allows me. So if we can take 17, 18, 19 together, because that is the same
Yes,
theme.
yeah, that will be fine, Prabhuji. I was thinking about this, but it will be a very long for you, so I thought I give you two services as well. If you want to go with three, that will be fine, Prabhu. It will be very helpful.
So it's okay, bro. I'll just take the third one also, because it is a part of the same theme. So we'll cover one theme today. Yeah. So the theme basically is, let's recite the shlokas, then we'll go into the theme. So we'll not recite all the three shlokas in the interest of time. We'll just go to the translation. Yes, Prabhu, that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine, Bali Yagna Prabhu. Hare. Yes, Prabhuji,
Yeah,
this is fine. Hare.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, fifth chapter, and verse number 17. You can see on the screen. I'll just recite the first shloka, and then we'll recite the other two translations. Tyaktva sadharmam. You will repeat, or I'll just say? Okay, let me only
Yes,
say.
Prabhu. Yeah, you can only say, Prabhu. Otherwise, Mike, if they will open all the devotee, there will be a disturbance. So
Okay.
you please.
त्यक्त्वा सधर्मं चनार्भुजं हरेर्भजमवाप्यो अथ पते ततो यदि यत्र क्वभद्रमबोधमस्य किं को वार्थाप्तो अभजतं स्वधर्मतः. So it says, the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation says, one who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in the occupational duties, does not gain anything. Beside, see the next shloka's translation also. तस्यैव हितो प्रयेतको विदो न लभ्यते यद्भ्रमतम् उपार्यदः लभ्यते दुःखवादन्यत सुखम् कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररसरम्भसा. The translation by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet Patal. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in the course of time. Just as in the course of time, we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. Let's read the third verse. Read the translation. My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes fall down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते. तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So again, very beautiful shlokas we are discussing, and the theme of this shlokas, the theme of this whole the three shlokas is that the progress in bhakti is credited forever, right? The theme of this is that whatever progress we are doing in bhakti is credited forever, so it is never lost. You know, it is never lost in our accounts. So this is the theme of these three shlokas. So for example, you know, you consider something that you are depositing your money in the bank, right? You are crediting your money in the bank, and what happens after a few days? The money is gone, right? It is spent. It is spent in expenses. वो खर्चा हो जाता है जो भी हम जमा करते हैं, and it is lost, right? So that money is lost. That money is, you know, gone. The expenses, and it doesn't stays forever. But then what his theme is saying that the progress in bhakti, जो हम भक्ति में जो हम प्रगति करते हैं, that is credited forever. Forever means eternally, that is credited. So how very good thing is that? मतलब आज की you know, in this times, if somebody says you that I will give you something which will stay forever, it will never go. So how we would feel, right, if we get something which will stay forever? अभी हम देखते हैं, you know, we are even you talk of youth, even you talk of money, even you talk of home or whatever possessions you have, nothing stays forever. But bhakti progress, whatever you do in bhakti, that will remain forever. This is our theme of today's three shloka. This is what actually Narad Muni is describing to Vyasadeva. So Narad Muni, as we all know, right? So Narada, right? Narada Muni. So the word meaning of Narada, what is the meaning of the word Narada? Narada. Rada means, you know, to reject, to kharij karna, rad kar dena, right? So Narada means the person whose instructions nobody rejects the instruction of Narada, right? उनकी बात कभी कोई नकारता नहीं है, नारद की बात कभी कोई झुकलाता नहीं है. So that is the word meaning of Narad. So whatever Narad Muni is saying is very important, and we have seen in Bhagavatam so many times that so there are so many incidences where Narad Muni is meeting somebody, and the person is becoming a devotee, right? So we say Hare, we say, you know, sadhu sanga sarva shastra kahe, lava matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoye. Narad Muni is such a sadhu जिनका लव मात्र संग लेने से भी we are, you know, achieving the best siddhis, you know, sarva siddhi hoye, and all shastras are saying like that. So Narad Muni has a track record of making thousands of devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll also take some association of Narad Muni. And Narad Muni is one more meaning is, you know, the last root word hai, that is to give, right? Like when in Bhagavad Gita we have Dadami Buddhi Yogam. So that means Lord gives the intelligence. So the root word is to give. So the person who gives Narayan to everyone is Narada, right? Narada. So one who gives Narayan to everyone, one who gives Krishna to everyone is Narada, right? So by hearing this, by hearing from Narad Muni, we are going to get Krishna, and we are going to follow his instructions. So that is the theme, right? So what Narad Muni is saying, right? In this purport, if you see in this 17th verse, what we saw. So there are three beautiful verses which we recited. I'll just go to that verse. I'll not read the purport now, but we'll take something from purport from Prabhupada. So it is said in the 17th verse that one who has forsaken his material occupation to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage. Yet there is no danger of being unsuccessful. So what it says is that even if you have some fall down in bhakti, that does not matter. On the other hand, if one is perfect in following the duties without Krishna consciousness, then that is useless, right? So even if you are doing little bit bhakti, if you are doing bhakti and you fall down also, that is okay still. But if you perfectly perform all your other duties, perfectly, but without keeping Krishna in center, without Krishna consciousness, then then that is completely useless. There is of no use. This is what the first shloka says, right, which we are reciting. So we can see that in this current world we have innumerable duties, right? We have all duties towards our parents, duties towards our family, duties towards our society, and duties towards humanity. I mean, now pandemic situation is there, we have duties towards society, and keeping ourselves clean and maintaining hygiene and seeing everything is maintained properly, maintaining law and order. Even we have duties to the demigods, we have duties towards nature. So many duties we have to do, right? And on top of that, Prabhuji is saying you to come for Srimad Bhagavatam, doing chanting. So you think that itna sara duties hai, and then on top of that we have to do bhakti also. So we are completely surrounded with all of the duties. So it is said that even if you have too many duties, and in bhakti it is said that even if you relinquish, even if you don't do other duties, if you are if you are not engaging in other duties also, and you are engaging in devotional service, right? Then also, matlab, agar you see somebody that he is he's not involved in too many duties also, but still he is but he is doing the bhakti. But in that devotional service also, if something fall down happens, right? If you are doing some let's say you are doing some prescribed rounds, and you are doing everyday reading or something, and you fall down and you stop doing it for any whatever reasons, right? For whatever reasons, it may be you are not liking the association of the devotees, या किसी devotee से झगड़ा हो गया, या कुछ और हो गया, you are falling in the bad association, you have fallen into some wrong attachments. Like what I'm saying is, you are started doing bhakti, you have started reading Srimad Bhagavatam, you have started chanting, you have started association with devotees. So you're doing all those things. You're going to temple. Now for example, there's a lockdown, temples are closed, right, in many parts of the world. So we are not able to go to temple. So by some other thing, we have the wrong association, and we stop doing bhakti, we fall down from the bhakti. But what this shloka says, that is still better condition. If you are falling down, then also it does not matter. Why it does not matter, we will see. But then even if you even if you perform all other duties without Krishna in center, that is useless. So falling down in bhakti is still okay condition than not doing bhakti at all and not keeping Krishna in center at all. So this is the theme of the first chapter. Now, do we have examples in the history? ऐसा पहले कभी हुआ है क्या कि किसी का fall down हुआ हो and nothing has happened to him? So the idea is that even if you fall down in bhakti, even if you are having in wrong association and you stop doing bhakti, that's your fall down in bhakti, still does not matter. So what is the example? Is there any examples in the history के जिनके साथ ऐसा हुआ है जो fall down हुए हैं and then still they are intact, still their bhakti is intact? As our theme goes that the progress in bhakti is credited forever. So we are saying fall down. So how to understand this? I hope I'm making myself clear. So can we see some examples in the history? Right? Yeah, somebody is writing Bharat Maharaj. Excellent. So Prabhupada gives 3 examples in his purport. Story of Ajamila, exactly. Yeah. So I'm getting the chat windows here. So yeah, if you read the purport of Srila Prabhupada, he gives the 3 examples, right, in the purport. So we'll try to discuss a little bit of those examples. Though हर एक का story बहुत बड़ा है, we can have a full Bhagavatam class on that. But let's try to summarize and discuss how fall down has happened and still they are not affected, right, in the history. So one example is of Bharat Maharaj. As we all know that Bharat Maharaj, I'll just take in a very crisp way. Bharat Maharaj was a very great king, and then finally he he gave up all his kingdom, and he gave up all his duties as a king, and then he went to forest, he goes to forest, and he goes to Kula Ashrama, and starts doing devotional service there alone, right? In the forest he was alone, and he started doing the devotional service. And what happened once, it happened that he was meditating on the he finished his morning duties and he was sitting under a tree, he was meditating on the Lord. And suddenly what happened, a deer came, and the deer was pregnant, and the deer was being attacked by some tiger or some other animal. And what happened, the deer jumped and tried to cross the river. Right, now that deer was pregnant, and that deer delivered the baby there itself and ran away. Right, in the moment of anxiety, the delivery happened, and the small baby deer just was lying there, and Bharat Maharaj saw that, right? He was the King Bharat at that time. So he saw that deer, and he thought that let me take that deer, let me protect that deer, otherwise the deer will die, the small deer, right? So he started taking care of that deer, and then he took very nice care. There's a very beautiful, description in Bhagavatam for that. So he started taking care of that deer, and he was too much attached to that deer that as if he was the deer was his own son, right? Whatever he was doing, जो भी वो करते थे, खाना खाते थे, तो deer, he was to ensure that deer ने पहले खाया है क्या. Whatever he used to do, his morning duties, he used to take care of the deer. Wherever he go, he used to take that deer along. So he was completely engrossed in the deer. And then what happened? It happened like this, that he, at the last moment of his life also, he quit the body thinking of the deer, right? क्योंकि हम जिसके बारे में बहुत attached होते हैं, that only thoughts come in at the time of our death. So when he was at the time of death, he had a thought of the deer, and he thought that if I am gone, who will take care of the deer, and uska kaun dhyan rakhega वगैरह वगैरह. So he thought of the deer and he left the body. And what Bhagavad Gita says, यम यम वापि स्मरण भावम त्यजेति अंतकलेवरम तम तम एवायति कौन्तेय सदा तद भाव भविता. The 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we know that जो भी आपका ध्यान होगा at the time of मृत्यु, तम तम एवायति कौन्तेय सदा तद भाव भविता. जो भी आपका जैसा भाव होगा, that same भाव you will attain after in the next life, right? So Bharat Maharaj got the body of a deer, right? Now from directly elevated Bharat Maharaj in the king's body, and next life he got as a deer body. So someone may think that that is a fall down, right? Getting an animal body is a fall down. So that is the one example of fall down which Prabhupada gives in the purport. We'll come to the theme, but then let's have a second example. Second example is of Chitraketu Maharaj, which Prabhupada writes in the purport. So Chitraketu Maharaj was also very elevated devotee. So it happened one day that he was coming, and he saw Lord Shiva was giving Srimad Bhagavatam class, and he was having Parvati also on his besides on his lap. So he didn't felt that okay. So Chitraketu Maharaj saw that scene, and all devotees and sages were sitting, and Lord Shiva was giving Bhagavatam class. So Chitraketu Maharaj didn't felt that appropriate, because they were all like friends, like Shivji and Chitraketu Maharaj, they were of equal, they were having a friendly relationship. So he thought that let me this is not appropriate. But then Parvati didn't like it, right? So Parvati Mata didn't like it, and then she gave curse to Chitraketu Maharaj that you have to become demon, right, in the next life. So Chitraketu Maharaj, at such an elevated position also, he became demon, and the name of the demon is Vritrasura, right? That pastime comes in the 6th canto. So Chitraketu Maharaj at this highest, he was at a very exalted level of devotion, and then he also became a demon, right? So that also can be considered as a fall down, right? Then the third story we have of Ajamila, which Prabhupada refers in the purport. Right now, what Ajamila did, Ajamila was very young, in youth, he was a very nice Brahmana. He was doing all the duties of a Brahmana, which his father was teaching him. And then it happened one day that he was going in the forest to bring something, and then he saw a prostitute and a Shudra. They were all, they were not in a very appropriate condition, and their all clothes were coming out, and they were enjoying, they were drinking. So, they were all intoxicated, and they were enjoying the forest. So Ajamila had that sight, and he has seen that sight, and then he was completely attached by that sight, and his thoughts were completely in that prostitute. So what happened? He brought that prostitute home as a maid, and then later he married that prostitute, and he gave up his young and chaste wife. He gave up his old parents. So he was constantly focusing on the prostitute, and he spoiled his whole spiritual life. And he had also 10 sons from that prostitute, and the last youngest son he had at the age of 88, and then he named that son as Narayana, right? So he named that son as Narayana, and later on, when he at the deathbed, he was too attached with his youngest son Narayan. So whatever happens, he was calling Narayan, Narayan, Narayan every time. Like Bharat Maharaj was attached to the deer, this guy was attached to Narayan, his youngest son. So at the time of death also, he was like for everything he was calling him only, for eating, sleeping, everything. He was continuously thinking of his own son, the youngest son. And at the time of death, he saw Yamadutas coming to take him because he was a very sinful person. And then he thought that they will harm to his youngest son Narayan. And in the shock, usne kya kara, he just when he was about to die and he saw the Yamadutas, he cried out loudly, Narayan. And what happened? As soon as he called Narayan, what happens? The four beautiful Vishnu Dutas came with 400 forms, right? And what Krishna says again in Bhagavad Gita, Antkale cha mameva smaran bhuktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yedi nasti yatra samshaya. So if at the time of death, if we remember the Lord, then you will come to me directly. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So what we can see from these three pastimes, three examples which Prabhupada gives, that even if you have some fall down in bhakti because of some association problem or because of some other issues, still you are not, still your bhakti never goes away. Like in case of Bharat Maharaj, though he was in the body of deer, he could remember what he did in the past life. He could remember that he was focusing on the Lord, and it was his duty to focus on the Lord and do all those spiritual activities. But somehow he got attached to the deer, and that's why he got the deer body. So he remembered everything by the mercy of the Lord, and he quit the body, remembering the Lord again. And the next body he got of a Jada Bharata, right? So in that there is a beautiful pastime of Rahugana. So Jad Bharata and Rahugana pastimes are there. So he was a very elevated devotee at the stage of Bhava, right? But still he fall down because of some or the other problem. And then, but still, even after falling down, what happened? His bhakti was not lost. The main theme is that the bhakti was not lost, even if you have some fall down because of your other activities. So Bharat Maharaj could remember his bhakti was not lost even in the body of animal, and he could recall that. How about Chitraketu? He was also, in the body of demon also. King Chitraketu, who was a Vritrasura, he remembered everything, and he was still having all the consciousness. He remembered everything, and he fought with the Indra, and he gave explanation to Indra about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhakti of Chitraketu Maharaj was also not lost, though there was a fall down. And in Ajamil also, as we know, that he chanted Narayan and got liberated. So he got a second chance to purify himself. So his bhakti was also not lost because he had done previously past, very spiritual activities. So the point is that whatever you do in the bhakti, whatever little you do, even if you're chanting one round, even if you're chanting two rounds, even if you are reading one time Srimad Bhagavatam, that will be credited forever, right? We have a Bhagavad Gita shloka also, which is proving that, which is establishing this fact. In chapter 2, verse number 40, Krishna says, Neha Vikraman Asho Asti Pratyavayona Vidyate Sualpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So what it says, Neha Vikrama. Neha Vikrama means no endeavor will be lost in this process of bhakti. No endeavor. There is no loss or diminution. कुछ भी आप करते हो, छोटा सा भी आप करते हो, जैसे अभी श्यामचंद्र प्रभु, he was telling you that at Purushottam Mass you wake up early and offer the lamb to the Lord, do Mangal Aarti, chant the holy name of the Lord. So just if you are offering one lamp of the Lord, you are showing the lamp to the Lord, ghee lamp to the Lord, that also will be credited forever. Like these are the activities of devotion, जो कि कभी जिनका नाश नहीं होना है. How good is that statement? Whatever we do is completely recorded, मतलब permanent bank account में हमारा जाएगा वो. So this is what Shastras are saying, and we have historical examples also to prove and establish that fact. Yeah. Coming back to second verse, the second verse says all the material positions are temporary, right? If you see the verse translation, what it says, what Prabhupada has translated very nicely and given his Bhaktivedanta purport, he says that all the positions are temporary, from topmost planet, from Brahmaji's planet to the lowest Patal planet. Everything is impermanent, right? They are all material positions, they are all temporary. And one should endeavor only to retrieve the eternal position or the relationship with the Lord and go back to Godhead. So our eternal position kya hai, that we have to focus on, which is the permanent position, right? All the designations, all the positions are all temporary, ranging from Brahmaji to Patal Lok. So we know that there are 14 planetary positions, right? If you see the architecture of the design of Bhumandala, there are 14 planetary positions on which the center is Bhuloka, which we are in, right? So topmost planet is the Brahma Loka and the Patal Loka is the lowest most planet. So we have 14 planetary positions. So all these positions are all temporary, right? In Bhagavad Gita also we have chapter 8 verse number 16. It says a brahma bhuvanaloka punaravartino arjuna mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Right? So what Krishna says, that from Brahmaloka to other all 14 lokas, if you are there, if you even if you progress, even if you do the activities in such a way that you are progressed to heavenly planets, but you have to come back again. Punaravartino Arjuna, right? So we will be never be coming out of this birth and that cycle. Even we travel in all those 14 planetary positions. Sometimes we go up, sometimes we come down based on our activities. So we keep on traveling in all those 14 planetary positions, but we don't come out. But how we can come out? Mamupetyatu konteya punarjanmana vidyate. Right? So if you surrender to me, Krishna is saying that if you surrender to me fully, right, then what happens? Punarjanmana vidyate. So then you are not having the punarjanma. So what Prabhupada says, that persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor for what? Should endeavor for the permanent things, endeavor for permanent position, right? In all these planets, the positions are all temporary, right? Even if Brahmaji has a death, right? So all these planetary positions are not, they are not devoid of, birth, age, janma, marna, jara, vyadi. So birth, death, old age, and disease. They are also not devoid of that. So every planet is having that. But intelligent person को क्या करना चाहिए? बुद्धिमान व्यक्ति को ये करना चाहिए कि how I can get something permanent. बुद्धिमान व्यक्ति को ये सोचना चाहिए कि कौन सी जो शाश्वत चीज है वो मुझे मिले. How I can get that. So that we have to think. This is what Prabhupada is writing in his translation. And further, एक और चीज, he writes very beautiful thing. The translation says, as far as happiness is derived from sense enjoyment, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even if we don't desire for them, right? Now abhi if I ask question that how many of us in the group are desiring for miseries, how many of us are desiring for distress, right? कोई ऐसे चाहता है कि मतलब कोई हम भगवान के सामने ऐसे प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हे भगवान अभी मेरा मैं कल जाऊं और बाहर जाके मेरा एक्सीडेंट हो जाए, या somebody is asking for headache, right? Somebody is asking in the morning that please Lord give me headache today, सर दर्द दे दो मेरे को, बुखार दे दो मेरे को. कोई नहीं आप मांगता है, right? Nobody is asking for distress. Yeah, people are commenting in the chat box. Yeah, this is good. Actually you can comment there so that we can have some interaction. So nobody is asking for distress, right? कोई हमारे लाइफ में मिजरीज नहीं चाहता है, right? But are we getting miseries? Even if we are not asking for miseries, but are we getting miseries? सर दर्द होता है, right? Accident भी होता है and बुखार भी आता है and so many other things happen to us. But then if we are not asking for that, then क्यों हो रहा है? So similarly, as we are not asking for headaches or for miseries or for distresses, we are still getting all those things. So similarly, we shall be getting happiness also automatically. This is what Prabhupada writes in the translation, right? So happiness also khud hi aayega even if you don't ask. Similarly, as distress you are not asking but still you are getting, so happiness also you will get. So this is what main thing to understand, that आप नहीं मांगोगे तभी भी आपको हैप्पीनेस भी आने वाला है, नहीं मांगोगे तभी भी आपको डिस्ट्रेस आने वाला है, based on your past karmas and all those things, right? Now Prabhupada writes in the purport that there are so many people who are trying to get happiness through many endeavors. कोई बिजनेस करता है, कोई पढ़ाई करता है, कोई पॉलिटिक्स में जाता है, there are so many other things which gives happiness to all the people. There are various even in this life also, and people try for happiness in the next life also. As I told that by doing all the pious karmas you can move to the heavenly planets, right? Heavenly planets में क्या होगा, अगर आप स्वर्ग में जाते हो या दूसरे लोकों में जाते हो, you have higher modes of enjoyment there. You have a longer life, you have longer youth, you can enjoy more. But then what happens once your pious deeds are over? You have to come back again in this material world and again suffer, right? So there is not a permanent position. So there is no permanent happiness in this 14 planetary positions, which are all temporary. This is what we have to understand here, right? आपको higher locals में आप जाओगे, then you will get some better body, you will enjoy something more, but then that is also temporary. So it is like in a life, it is like you are just hankering for happiness and you get a little bit happiness and again you are thrown back. So this is what happens in the heavenly planets also. So it says, Prabhupada writes in the purport that people have different positions in life due to their previous karmas, right? So जो भी हमारा position है, that depends on our karma. So like, for example, I'll give you example. Family में, you see many times that there are two people, right? But both have different positions in life, both have different status in life. दोनों का life अलग अलग चलता है. So what is the difference, So the difference is their own previous karmas are making the difference. Both they are in the same family, but still because of their karmas, they are having the different positions, right? But what Prabhupada says, the main point is not that one is higher, कोई अमीर है, कोई गरीब है, कोई अच्छा दिख रहा है, कोई not अच्छा दिख रहा है. So that is not the main thing. Thing is that all these positions are temporary. Yeah. So positions from Brahma Loka to Patal Loka, everything is temporary. So a sane person, an intelligent person को क्या करना चाहिए? We should think for something permanent positions, right? And no one is free from birth, death, old age and disease. जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुख दोषानुदर्शनम, right? So this whole material creation, कहीं पे भी आप जाओ, you are having all those four things. So an intelligent person, intelligent decision should be that how I can go to a place which is permanent and where there is no janma, where there is no mrityu, where there is no jara, where there is no disease, where there is no old age, right? Everyone is looking. आप देखो, there is a fashion industry and medical industry, $1 trillion industries are there. Each one is trying that how we can remain old age free, या हमारी body कैसे wrinkle free हो, age free हो, disease free हो. People are spending so much dollars on that, but that's not going to be achieved, right? The problem is that this material body itself is a problem. So if you are getting the material body, these are things are bound to come. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi are bound to come if you have a material body. So this is where we should think, an intelligent person, that how I can do something so that I don't get this material body at all. And we get a spiritual body. So that we should focus on. This is what what Narad Muni is explaining to Vyasadeva, right? And actually he is explaining to Vyasadeva, but the instructions are for us. राइट. सो हम लोग ये शास्त्र पढ़ते हैं, श्रीमद् भागवतम, वी रीड श्रीमद् भगवद गीता. सो इन वी कैन से दैट ओके, कृष्णा इज इंस्ट्रक्टिंग टू अर्जुना, तो ये इंस्ट्रक्शन उनके लिए होगा. नारद मुनि इज इंस्ट्रक्टिंग टू व्यासदेव, सो दिस इंस्ट्रक्शन इज फॉर व्यासदेव. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. दिस इंस्ट्रक्शन इज फॉर अस ऑल्सो, एंड हमें भी उसे उसी गहराई से, उसी गंभीरता से उसको ग्रहण करना चाहिए. सो दीज आर इंस्ट्रक्शंस फॉर अस, राइट. सो लेट्स गो टू द वर्स नंबर 19. So I'll take that verse as well. So what Prabhupada writes in that verse is, okay. So the translation says, my dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes fall down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruitive workers. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. So what the translation says, that if someone is doing the devotion service, like who's a devotee of Krishna, but वो fall down उसका हो जाता है कोई भी किसी भी कारण से, but he does not undergo material existence like other. So इसमें हमें देखना है कि जो कर्मी लोग हैं और भक्त लोग हैं उनमें डिफरेंस बताया है, right? जो कर्मी लोग हैं, those are just focusing on the good and bad activities and they get all the reactions as per that. Devotees are not like that. Krishna will protect. Because agar aap, you are chanting the holy name of the Lord, you are associating with the devotees, you are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, then Krishna will definitely protect the devotee. The devotees will not have a position like karmis. That karmi suffers the results of their own fruitive actions and reactions. They do some fruitive action, they have their reactions. Whereas a devotee is reformed by chastisement with the Lord. So इसका मतलब क्या है? That मान लो कि Prabhupada gives an example of orphan, right? जो अनाथ होता है, कोई अनाथ बालक है मान लो, right? So sufferings of the orphan and sufferings of the son of a king, right? So मान लो एक अनाथ बालक है और एक राजा का बेटा है, right? One orphan and one son of a king. So sufferings of both अगर बाहर से देखेंगे, maybe we look same, but then the sufferings of the orphan is more severe than the sufferings of the son of a king. क्योंकि वो जो राजा का बेटा है वो भले अगर कुछ मुश्किल में है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम में है, बट देन ही इज ऑलवेज ऑब्जर्व्ड बाय द किंग. So he's always, जो राजा होता है वो उसका देख रहा होता है, जैसे हमारे maybe राजा का बेटा, या you can consider a son of a rich person, right? Though a rich person's son is undergoing some problem, but the rich person is there and he is watching and he is monitoring that. So similar thing happens with the devotee also. Even if devotees are committing some mistake or some bad association से कुछ fall down होता है, but still Krishna protects. So we are under the shelter of Krishna. So this is conviction and this faith we should have, that when we are chanting the holy name of the Lord, Krishna will protect us, right? Even if in Bhagavad Gita we see chapter 5 verse number 29, right? So it says Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Shurdam Sarva Bhutanam Nyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. So if we understand these three things, that Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam, Krishna is the only enjoyer. Surdam Sarva Bhutanam, he is our ultimate well-wisher and ultimate friend, right? And he is going to protect us. Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he is the ultimate, the Maheshwaran, the supreme controller of the whole world. If you understand these three facts, then Nyatva Mam Shantim Rachati, that we will be at the peaceful condition. So we should have a conviction completely that a pure devotee, is always being protected by the Lord, and he continuously remembers his lotus feet. And purpose, this translation says that Krishna will pull back, right, and he will remember that ecstasy again and again. So even if we fall down, अगर होता भी है तभी भी हमें वो भक्ति हमेशा याद रहेगी, and then we will be again get connected to some devotees. I know, I'm sure many of us having that example that हम अभी भक्ति में जुड़े हैं because हमने पहले कुछ किया था. Somebody may be doing in this life also. Somebody may have examples that I met that devotee 20-30 years back. Now I'm again connected to Krishna consciousness through Shamchandra Prabhu, or through this Prabhu, or through that Prabhu, right? So we can see that हम भक्ति में आते हैं, that means we have done something in the past and again our bhakti is started. So Krishna protects his devotees. This is a very important statement in this current condition, that our bhakti will never be lost. Whatever we do will always be in our permanent account, and we will be remembering that ecstasy again and again, and Krishna will make sure that he protects his devotees, right? So this is a very important statement, powerful statement in Bhagavad Gita also, in Srimad Bhagavatam. Time and again it is proven that if you are doing devotional service, it is directly going in the permanent account. ऐसा नहीं है कि चालू किया और खत्म हो गया. Compared to in material things, if you see, if you are doing any project or any studies also, if you are doing, let's say, PhD, और आधे में छोड़ दिया, in the next life if you come, you have to, you cannot say that, yeah, I have done the PhD in my past life, now let me do the give me the degree directly. No, you have to go again ABCD, again one standard, second standard, and you have to again do the whole cycle again, right? If you are studying medicine also, if you are dying and the next life also, you cannot claim that I was doctor in my previous life and मेरे को अभी directly I have to open the clinic. No, it will be all lost, right? Material possessions, everything will be lost. Material degrees, everything will be lost. But then bhakti में जो हम करते हैं, that is never lost. Whatever you do, even small endeavor, sualpam apyasya dharmasya, even small endeavor also we do, that goes permanently in the permanent account, right? So this is a very positive statement. So with that statement, I just stop my words, and if you have any observation, if you have any comments or any questions, please ask, so that we have 10-15 minutes, 10 minutes more, we can take the questions. So with that thought, please regularly chant, regularly read Srimad Bhagavatam, regularly take association of devotees, because this is a permanent thing which we are doing, and there is no loss or diminution in this process. This is very clear from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Bali Yagna Prabhu, there are questions from Pankaj Prabhu and Sapna Mataji. In the comment box actually. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Bhakti of Sri Narayana and Sri Krishna is the same. And can we do Bhakti in up or down lok? Lok means planet, he is trying to say.
Yeah, so that Bhakti of I will just see the question. Yeah, Bhakti of Sri Narayana and Sri Krishna is same. Can we do Bhakti in up or down lokas? Okay. So Bhakti of Narayana and Krishna is the same. They are all the same personality only, right? So the Bhakti is same if you chant Narayana also. But then what is prescribed, as we are discussing multiple times, that what is prescribed Mahamantra for this Kali Yuga is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. as it is said in Kalisantarana Upanishad also, Iti Shodashaka Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam Natta Parataropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. This is what Brahmaji is saying to Narad Muni. That for Kali Yuga, the prescribed mantra is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So you have to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, that is what mantra we chant, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that is all same. Whatever form of the Lord you are attached to, that you can pray. But the Kali Yuga mantra is Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and you can do bhakti in all the lokas. That is correct. You can do bhakti. You can remember Lord. That's what it says, right? You will remember the Lord ecstasy again and again. So the idea is that going to different lokas, what it means is that people are trying to get happiness, right? As we discussed. So here also we are trying to get happiness. We try to wear nice cloth. We try to eat something nice. We try to enjoy. But then we have a very limited enjoyment, right? हमारा यहाँ पे आयु कितना है? कलयुग में आयु is around 100 years, right? But if you go to heavenly planets, what Prabhupada is writing is that people are aspiring to go to heavenly planets, Swarga Loka, other lokas, so that you can enjoy more, right? So that you have a longer life, you have longer youth, so that you can enjoy more. You can have more things to enjoy, right? But that is not the idea, because that is also temporary, right? So bhakti you can do anywhere, but people normally prefer go heavenly planets to enjoy more. So that should not be a wise decision. An intelligent person and philosophically inclined person should think that मेरे को ऐसी कौन सी जगह जाना चाहिए जो कि मुझे परमानेंट हैप्पीनेस देगा, right? So that permanent happiness is available in Golok Vrindavan and Vishnu Lokas, in Krishna Lokas. So there we have to aspire for. Okay. Hope that helps. Yeah, Prabhu. Any other question?
Yeah, Prabhu, there is a question from Sapna Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. If a person quits his body thinking of his family, will he get the next birth in the same family?
Okay. So yeah, so that is a very important question. So if you are like we have many stories in Bhagavatam, like Bharat Maharaj we saw. Then we have a story of Puranjana, who was thinking of a woman and he got a woman's body in the next life. So if you are thinking of whatever at the last moment, you will get the birth amongst those. So now we will get in the same family or not. So some people may think that, okay, let me remember of my family, I will come in the next life in the same family, so I'm attached, so I will be happy. But you don't know which body you will get, right? You may come in the same family, but you may come as a lizard in your home. You may come as a you may come as a dog, or you may come as any animal. You may come as a pet dog in the same family. Then it's a problem, right? You may not take the human form again. So that all depends on your karmas and what all desires you have, right? So it's a little bit complex. It is not like that. So our next bodies, as we are saying, that we are preparing our next bodies by doing the activities in this life, right? And whatever we have done in the past lives, whatever desires we have, because we have innumerable desires, and Krishna is so merciful that he fulfills each and every one of our desire, but then in multiple bodies, right? In multiple janmas. So it is not necessary that you may get the human body only. That depends on your karmas and your past activities, right? But yeah, so what Krishna says, whatever you're thinking at the time of that, it's the same bhava you will attain, the same form, the same desire you will attain, right? So that's how it goes. It is not necessary that you will come in the same family, that in the same human body, but then yeah, so that's how it is to be understood. But you will attain the same bhava, whatever your desires are. Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, Prabhu, there is a question from Shivansh Prabhu as well. If you want, I can read for you, or you're reading from comment box.
I'm trying to go, bro. Yeah, you can read, bro.
I have a question. This is Shivansh Prabhu. He's saying that we should not donate without making it prasad of Krishna, but I distribute prasadam to dogs and other animals, but it is open on the road. So it is insult for prasad. Then what should I do? I can't give it without making it prasad, and I can't take cups because there is around 15 to 20 dogs.
Okay. I am distributing logs. Okay. So, Prabhu, this is this very honest question, I would say. So, idea is that you distribute prasadam, not food. That is very correct. But at the same time, you should see that prasad is not wasted. It is going, somebody is consuming it. So there's no problem in giving to animals, but then we should ensure that it is consumed. It is not, wasted, and it is not thrown on the road, because sometimes, animals eat sometimes and then they spill over something also. So prasad is not something to be wasted. It is a prasad, right? Prabhu ke sakshat darshan. So it is a very important aspect of bhakti to honor prasadam also. So just ensure that it is not wasted. This is what you should ensure. You can distribute to any living entity. That's not a problem. But then, yeah, it should not be wasted. And this is what it should be taken care with the prasadam, with the charnamrit, with the prasadam. So you can distribute so that it is consumed properly. Okay. Okay. I can see, Prabhu, one more question.
Yes, Prabhu.
I have a question. When Raja Bharat leaves the body of a deer by remembering Krishna or Vishnu, then he is not going to Golok Dham. Yeah. So what is the question? I think when Raja Bharat is leave the body of a deer by remembering Krishna or Vishnu, he is not going to Golok. Yeah, that's a very important thing now. So see, so Bharat Maharaj, as you know, the first life he remembered the deer and he became the deer, right? And then in deer body he was having the consciousness, and that he know that what he has to perform, right? He has to perform bhakti and he has to remember the Lord. So that is what he thought, and he got a human body, because in human body only you can do the bhakti process, you can complete your process of bhakti, right? So this is the gateway. So in human body only you can have the karmas, and you can uh, you can rectify your karmas by doing bhakti. In deer body you cannot do bhakti, right? You cannot physically perform that. So that is what it is, but he remembered Krishna, and he had the consciousness. He knew that he has done the mistake. In the deer body he could remember that he has done a mistake of getting attached unnecessarily to the deer body. So to rectify that mistake, again he has to take one more birth, and then he, in that next birth, he rectified and continuously thought of Krishna and performed bhakti, and then he got liberated, right? So in that deer body was, you can consider that some kind of, now that's a very interesting thing here to see, that we may see that it is downgrade, right? It is fall down. Though Bharat Maharaj got a deer body, it is a fall down in the case of material body, but at the consciousness level he was uplifted, right? In the body of King Bharata, he was already at the bhava stage, right? That is just one below the prema stage. So he was in the bhava stage and he fall down to the deer body, but his consciousness was not fallen down. In that deer body also he could remember his past life, that he has done this mistake and he has to rectify that, right? So for that rectification he has given the another birth as Jad Bharata, and then he perfected his life, and then he went to Golok, right? Hope that answers. So one may ask, that Bharat Maharaj was a very elevated devotee. He was at the stage of bhava. Then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that yam vatvi smaran bhavam tajeti anta kalevaram. जो तुम्हारा भाव होगा मरते समय वही तुमको मिलेगा. But is it true with everyone? Right? With Bharat Maharaj was at a very high level, तो उनको थोड़ा concession मिलना चाहिए था. Why he got a deer body? So the answer to that is, we बाहरी बाह्य रूप से हमको लगता है कि that is a fall down in a deer body, but Krishna protected his consciousness. Krishna protected his bhakti, right? So bhakti was not lost. The idea is that bhakti will never be lost. Whatever body you get, but bhakti will not be lost. So Krishna protected his bhakti, and he gave him another chance so that he perfects his bhakti and gets delivered. So this is what we have to understand. Yeah. Okay. Any other question?
Prabhu, we will take last question. This is from
Yeah.
Sushant Prabhu. Is there any fixed number of entries to Golok Dham, or it's unlimited entries?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. There is no fixed number of entries, Prabhu, in Golok Dham. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोटा हो जाएगा and every year only 40 devotees, 50 devotees can come. Krishna is waiting with open hands for each one of us, right? You see Lord Jagannath, his hands are always open. He's standing like this. So Krishna is waiting for all the souls. He says that he's not envious of anyone, not he's favoring anyone. Yeah, name dveshasti na priya. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapiyam. So he is waiting for all of us, and there is no limited के गोलोक भर जाएगा तो वहाँ और कौन से devotees जा पाएंगे. There is no fixed quota. We all can go to Golok Vrindavan. Just follow the instructions of previous acharyas. As Prabhupada has said, we have to hold the dhoti of Prabhupada. This is very important. We have to hold the dhoti of our spiritual master. What Prabhupada has said, chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles, be in the association of devotees, and I will ensure that you go to Golok Vrindavan. Right? So we have to stick to that principle, that we have to stick to Prabhupada, that Prabhupada ne kya kaha hai, 16 rounds chanting karo attentively. I am doing that. Follow 4 regulative principles, and definitely it's Prabhupada's mercy that he will take us to Golok Vrindavan. There is no fixed number ke itne hi log ja sakte hain, aisa nahi hai. He's waiting for everyone. Krishna is very merciful. He's waiting for all of us. Okay. Anything else, Prabhu? Any other questions are there?
Yeah, I think there are so many questions, Prabhu. It's your purity that devotees are in today's session are asking so many questions. Otherwise, sometimes we don't have, or sometimes we have 2, 3. But we will do it quickly, I think.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm happy to serve jigyasas of devotees. You want me to read? Okay, because it's a phone, no, so I'm a bit difficult with going here. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you are there?
Yes, Bali. You want me to read?
I don't know which one want to take away. I can see one question. It said that if we chant Lord's name at the last time, we will get God. So if a real karmi with bad karmas accidentally chant, so will he get Golokadam? Yeah. Okay. So if a real karmi with bad karmas accidentally chants, so this is what this is what happens with Ajamil, right? So he was a karmi and he was done very bad karmas, right? He went with the prostitute and he thrown off his old parents and he gave away his old young and chaste wife, and he was stealing, he was gambling, he was doing all the bad karmas to fulfill the desires of that prostitute, and he chanted accidentally, right? He was not chanting so that he wanted to go to Golok, right? Ajamila was not he was not chanting purposefully to counteract his sins. His chanting was inoffensive, right? So एक चीज हमें यहाँ पे समझना है that this question is very important to understand that why Ajamil someone may ask that Ajamil ने तो इतना गलत काम किया, then ऐसे ही एक बार नारायण बोल दिया तो हो गया काम क्या हमारा? तो any bad karma with this question, yeah, what you are asking, and any people with the bad karma, he can chant Narayan and he can get rid of. But Ajamila was not chanting Narayan with the intention of going to Golok, right? He was not chanting Narayan to counteract his sins, right? First of all, he was not knowing that he is performing sinful activities. Second, he was not knowing that chanting Narayan will cure his all sinful activities. So अभी हमने सबने नाम अपराध पढ़ा, right? So ninth offense is chanting the holy name, commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. That is an offense, right? Against Naam. This is the Naam Aparad. That you are committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. So Ajamil was not like that. He was not chanting to counteract his sinful reactions. He was chanting, without any intention or without any knowing the power of the word of Narayan, accidentally, right? But वो inoffensive chanting था. So if we are doing inoffensive chanting, then we are definitely purified. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam claims in the 6th canto. So even if accidentally you are chanting inoffensively, then it will clear all your karmas, right? But if you are chanting offensively, then it may not do that. So inoffensive chanting is very important, right? And this is what Lord says, even if whatever you may do, even there's one shloka comes that sanketyam parihasam va stobam halena eva va, right? Sanket matlab sanket करने के लिए. If you are I am just pointing out, right? I am doing sanket. जैसे मान लो किसी जगह का नाम कृष्ण नगर है, राम नगर है, and somebody is asking you, भाई रामनगर किधर है, and now you are telling रामनगर उस तरफ है. So you are just indicating by the saying Ram or by saying Krishna, right? So sanketyam. Parihasam means jokingly, right? So jokingly also, if you are taking Hare Krishna, Krishna's name, that you are saying ये हरे कृष्णा वाले फिर से आ गए यार कीर्तन करने के लिए, you are making fun of Krishna people, you are making joke of Hare Krishna jokingly also, then what it says, sanketyam parihasam va stobam halena eva va. Stobam means while singing, while performing some musical activity, you are speaking Krishna's name, and halena eva va, accidentally, just like that, neglectfully also you are taking Krishna's name, then also it will give you rid of sinful reactions, right? So this is what the story of Ajamil we hear, that even accidentally अगर आप लेते हो मरते समय, then also Krishna says I will protect you, then what will happen if we take Krishna's name with faith and attention, with faith and devotion, right? So Ajamila took while dying, but what if we took while living? हम लोग अभी जिंदा हैं, we are not dying, right, today, or maybe we die, we don't know, but at moment we are living. So Krishna, Ajamil took while dying, but what if we are taking while we are living? He took the name without faith, but what if we are taking the name with faith and with devotion? Ajamila was calling his son Narayan. He was not calling the Lord, right? But what if we call the Lord directly? We address the Lord by calling Narayan, by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So what will be the benefit? You just see. Even if by accidentally chanting, he's getting so much benefit. Then what if we chant with proper attention, with proper devotion? If we chant with proper faith, if we chant, then what will be the benefit? Right? So this is what we will see. But then one point we have to understand that पूरी जिंदगी हमने भगवान का नाम नहीं लिया. If the whole life, if we are not taking Krishna's name, then at the last moment, even accidentally, we may not remember Krishna's name, right? So at the last moment, if we are willing to take Krishna's name, then we should practice, we should chant Krishna's name every day. This is where we are doing Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Every day we are coming to see, read Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day we have to chant 16 rounds, so that at the last moment हमारे मुख से भगवान का नाम ही निकले, नहीं तो कुछ और निकलेगा. So to ensure that, we have to chant every day, we have to chant, we have to read every day, we have to be in association, so that we are in that mood, ताकि जब हम अंत समय हो तब भगवान का नाम ही निकले. For example, if you are going on the road and if some car hits you, some cycle hits you, या some scooter hits you, तो आपके मुंह से क्या निकलता है? आप देखिए, this is your personal observation. हम कई बार कुछ भी बोल देते हैं ना, वो माँ बोलते हैं, वो पापा बोलते हैं, और शिट बोलते हैं, बट क्या हमारे मुख से कृष्णा निकलता है? Right? Whenever we are hurt suddenly, whenever we fall down, whenever we trip, does Krishna's name comes out? So this will give you the indication what comes out from your mouth. If Krishna is not coming out, that means you have to chant more and more, so that Krishna comes out inadvertently. Without your knowledge, Krishna's name should come out from your mouth. Then it will happen. Okay. Okay. Do you have more, Prabhu, questions?
This will be the last question, and it's not that we are doing first time this class, and we will continue asking questions, and there will be regular sessions. So Mataji Savita is asking, offering flowers to the Lord Lotus feet. Next, what do we do? Where to put these flowers?
Okay. So this is again a good question. So offering flowers to the Lord's lotus feet. So once you offer the flowers, what else you can do? Depends where are you today. Normally Nirmalya होते हैं, जब flowers आप दे देते हो. So Nirmalya, normally what you do is there are different approaches. Then maybe the flowerings which are offered as Nirmalya, so that you can you can maybe drown in some river or something. I'm not very sure, but then you should not be thrown away, of course. But depends where you are, which location you are. So you can put those flowers in the river and put those flowers in the in the ground also somewhere. But you should not be crumpled by the legs. मतलब उस पे पाँव नहीं रखना चाहिए ऑफर होने के बाद, because that is a nirmalya, so we can, it has to be respected. So you can bury that in the ground, or you can dispose in the water somewhere where it is because that is biodegradable. Normally I'm knowing why this question is coming, because this is a flower is a biodegradable waste, so it will biodegrade. It is not a plastic that it will spoil something. So that way you can dispose of in a proper way, right? Because this is a very point of topic in Mayapur also. I think when Prabhuji was here, when Harilila Prabhu was here, we were discussing that there's so much Nirmalya getting collected. So what to do of that. So big temples are there. So they are thinking on that terms, what is to be done to properly process that. But as an individual level, you can just put on the ground or put on the mud, so that it is not किसी का पाँव उसके ऊपर ना पड़े. That you can ensure at an individual level. Okay, Shamchandra Prabhu, any more questions or please observations? Prabhu, you want to add anything? You can add, please.
That was a wonderful class. I'm very thankful to you, Bali Yagna Prabhu, for the wonderful session. We have many devotees online. I'm very thankful to especially Bali Yagna Prabhu, you, Damodar Priya Mataji, our regular listener. She's coming. Dinesh Yadav Prabhu, our volunteer. Himani Mataji is also our volunteer, helping us in different seva. Kashish Mataji recently came in from Dubai. She's chanting 22 rounds every day. more than
Hari Om.
22 and 25 from the whole family is Krishna conscious. Keshav Prabhu, our regular girl, and Lakshmi Mataji from Pakistan. She's a wonderful devotee, very youth. Yeah, Naresh Prabhu, he is living in our Ajman, Abu Dhabi. Sorry, this is in Sharjah. This is wonderful devotee. Pankaj Prabhu is also our regular. He's a youth. Radhika Mataji, she is listening our regular Bhagavad Gita 15-minute lecture regularly and coming. Ganga Mataji from Dubai. Rekha Mataji is from Ajmer. She's a wonderful devotee chanting 6 rounds daily. And Sapna Mataji, our youth, she's our volunteer. And Savita Mataji, she's recently joined but start chanting 16 round at a very short span of time. Satyarani
Very good.
Mataji also, she's listening our regular Bhagavad Gita every day and sending us report. Sitarani Mataji also chanting with us in the morning. She's a volunteer. Shivansh Prabhu, Sneha Mataji, and Tanun Prabhu, Shrikant Patnaik Prabhu. He's an innovator, entrepreneur, scientist also. Very good devotee, regularly joining. Swati Mataji is our with us, wonderful devotee. Varun Prabhu, our volunteer, and we have a very wonderful Vinitra Mataji from South India. She's helping us in Tamil quotation, translation, and she's also regular. So I'm very thankful to all the devotee. They are coming regularly. As we see, there is a happy index. After some time, it comes down. But through the enthusiasm of these devotee, we are also getting devotional service. And there's a wonderful wake up in the morning and chanting and associating with devotee. Now we can go with our office work and all these things. You have to also leave, Prabhu. I'm very thankful. So without
Very true.
taking more time, we will offer our obeisances to all the Vaishnava and end the session.
Thank you, Prabhu.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो श्री वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कुंज बिहारी भगवान की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस ग्रेस बलि यज्ञ प्रभु की जय। थैंक यू सो मच।
Bhagwan ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for calling me. We are a very wonderful group, and I would be happy to serve you. You're doing a very wonderful seva, and all devotees, as you mentioned, are joining from various parts of the world. So very nice to hear all those engagements. So please keep coming. Please have your enthusiasm on a very high level. So the enthusiasm is very important. So, happy to hear you. Happy to be with you all. Thank you, Prabhu, for giving me this
Hare
opportunity.